All right, I'm going to do this for what feels like the 5th time, I think. I have not been able to get a good video of this. What I want to talk about is the issue that we had with our Evo 4 and a new fuel pump and cutting out. What happened was we changed the fuel pump, and at part idle, sorry, you're getting a close-up of my head here. At part idle, let me get a flashlight, cruising, things like that, what would happen is it would cut out. It'd feel like an ignition miss. It would kind of like that. But the ignition wasn't cutting out. There was no miss. So we started looking at it, and we came to the conclusion that the last thing we replaced was the fuel pump. So we came to the conclusion that our fuel pump was the issue. And long story short, it was a bone stock Evo 4. We replaced the turbo with an Evo 9 turbo, put Evo 5 injectors, Evo 5 ECU in it, and then upgraded the fuel pump to a Walbro 255 or 250, I can't remember exactly what the model was, fuel pump. And so we had this issue, and until we did the fuel pump, we never had the problem. So I hit up some forums, couldn't really find any concrete information. Some people talked about relays, some people talked about the fuel pump resistor, or a combination of the two, or whatever, but nobody really said what to do when you had that problem. So I hit up Facebook for a couple different groups, couldn't really get any information until one day a guy said, remove the fuel pump resistor from the system, basically jumper the wires together for the engine harness. And what it does is it makes the Walbro pump run at 12 volts all the time, instead of the factory fuel pump, which would run at a variable voltage. So what we did was, I'm going to get in here. Here's your connector that goes to the resistor. This was on the resistor side. What I did is I just before that I put a jumper in here to test it just to make sure I wouldn't break anything. But this was the wire that went to the fuel pump resistor, which is right here. So I jumpered it together, put a barrel connector on there, and then some marine grade shrink tube that's got like a waterproofing stuff in it, and then jumpered it back together. Now it runs like a champ. So that's the fix. Like I said, I've tried this video 18 times. This is not my Evo. This is my son's Evo. His first, what I would call irresponsible purchase as an adult. But that's okay, since it's a car, I'm cool with it. But what I'm going to do, let me attach this to my thing, make sure it works. All right, so what we've done so far is Evo 9 turbo, some dress up stuff. You're not really going to be able to see it in the light here. We put stainless hardware in to replace all the factory rusty stuff. You can't really see it, but the exhaust manifold, we sandblasted down, and we Cerakoted it with titanium color Cerakote. And the thing I love about it, as long as you don't scratch it or damage it, it looks beautiful. Oh, it will always look nice like that. We did not do the hot side of the turbo. Oh wait, or did we? I can't remember if we did or not. So yeah, little stainless dress-up kits. We did valve cover gaskets. We had to do an idler pulley that was going bad. That's about it, really. He doesn't want to go too wild with the engine. Since it's an Evo 4, crank walk is an issue, a known issue, so he doesn't want to have to replace the engine or anything like that. Factory radiator was leaking at the end tanks, so we just threw this Mishimoto on here. And I will say, if you run a Mishimoto radiator, let me take this back off so I can move around here. If you run a Mishimoto radiator on an Evo 4 with the factory fan and an Evo 9 turbo like we did, we had to cut, you can see right there on the shroud, we had to cut the shroud to fit around the turbo. The other thing is, the fan, see how the blades are kind of melted? The fan will hit the turbo. We let it do that and basically just wear itself out when you turn on the AC. So now it doesn't hit any longer. So be aware if you ever put it, because Evo 9 turbo is a larger compressor housing. So if you ever do this and you upgrade the radiator, be aware that you will get rubbing and stuff like that. So we did that. Oh yeah, we put on a bypass valve, and we reroute. They had a vent to atmosphere, and we wanted to go back to recirculating. So these are actually radiator hoses off of his rally art, and we took those and joined them together to make it full recirculating again. Oh, we put silicone upper and lower radiator hoses on just to last a little longer. And I'll give you kind of a walk around. The other thing we're going to do is I have Brembo brakes on the way. It's got new wheels and tires on it, but the brakes are shot. When we bought the car, the inside of all 4 rotors had never seen a brake pad for, I don't know, 20 years. There was so much scale and rust on the inside of the rotors from no contact with the pads squeezing that we were alarmed. So we went back. We didn't rebuild the calipers, but we re-greased everything, made sure everything was really good, made sure the calipers moved, made sure that when you push the brakes that the pistons and the calipers squeezed and we can move them back, all of that stuff. Put them all back together until one night we were giving it a little shakedown run trying to figure out what our missing was. This caliper decided to lock up. We got back and we could see smoke, and I'm like, man, that smells like clutch or something, because brakes will smell like a clutch. It's basically the same material. I come out and I went to touch the wheel. It burned my hand. So I went and got my temp gun. The wheel was 225 degrees. The rotor was 450 degrees. So it locked up, and it was like this bluish, rusty gray color. And I thought, it's locked up. Something's wrong. So instead of trying to piece together a new brake system to do just a factory replacement, since the brakes are known to kind of be a weak link with these cars, we are going to, I've got 3 of the 4 Brembos. They're all reman Brembos, so they're all new hardware, everything like that. They just need painted. I've got the rotors, I've got the pads, but I also need the bolts to bolt the calipers to the car. So that's the only other thing I need, and I'm just going to piece together a little bolt set instead of going to Mitsubishi and paying $30 per bolt. I could probably find the hardware with the right pitch and everything in the right size to do it. So I just have to have a caliper with me to do that. But that's what we're going to do. These boxes here are his exhaust. This is a Felly-built downpipe. This is an HKS. It's at the high power. I want to say high power exhaust. I can't recall. Somebody might know. This is an eBay downpipe. We didn't want to run the stocker because it's all cast iron and rusty and it's 30-some years old. So we decided to go with this one. It's stainless steel. It's actually really, really nice. Came with gaskets and everything. So as far as mods go, the next step for this car is brakes and the exhaust. And then he wants to learn how to tune. So the nice thing is we can run this exhaust and stuff without a tune for the time being. He'll just need to learn how to do it on his own. So I told him not to be dangerous and maybe enlist the help of someone that knows a little bit more than him with tuning. But that's where we're at on the Evo 4.